One thing I love about living in Wilmington, North Carolina is that we're home to a thriving film industry. So many awesome movies and TV shows have been filmed right in my backyard, and that's just so cool. And with the large movie studio here in town, there are a lot of residents who work in the industry. One thing that surprises me is how difficult of a time those people have in getting approved for a mortgage. We at Atlantic Coast Financial Services have closed a lot of loans for people who work in the film industry after they've gotten turned down from their banks or other mortgage lenders. And it's really disappointing to me that these people have so much trouble getting approved because they're some of the hardest workers I've ever met and they make a really good living. Those who work in the film industry should have no problem buying a house. So why do they? Well, based on my experience, there are so many banks and mortgage lenders out there who just don't know how to deal with their income structure or just don't want to deal with it because it is a more difficult loan. It's feast or famine with their income because when they're filming, when they're working on a project, they're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and making lots and lots of money and overtime and everything. But then they may go a month without any projects, so they can't produce pay stubs for that month. And when an underwriter sees that there's gaps in employment or it's not steady employment because they're working on different productions who use different payroll companies, it's really easy for the underwriter to say, we can't do this because of job history not being stable or income being inconsistent. But that's where a good loan officer comes into play. A good loan officer is going to paint the picture for the underwriter on day one. And the two magical words in this case are seasonal income. You need to treat this as seasonal income because they're not receiving the same paycheck week after week. It is so vital for the loan officer to advocate on behalf of their film industry client and to paint the picture for the underwriter on day one that this is seasonal income, explain what their pay structure is like, document a history of them earning money, working in the industry, and just fighting for their client and knowing the guidelines, because knowing the guidelines, film industry veterans should get approved for a mortgage every time if they're qualified. With that said, this is absolutely an industry in which you're going to want to have at least a 2-year work history in, preferably longer. Another layer of difficulty that underwriters have is that some productions will pay on a 1099 and others will pay on a W-2. So you're going to have a mix of self-employed income and W-2 income. This can all be used, and it should be used when qualifying your income. And also, it doesn't matter that different productions use different payroll companies. Again, we're treating it as seasonal income, and it's kind of a hybrid of self-employment versus W-2. So again, it's super important to be organized and to have all of your pay stubs and W-2s and pay history readily available for your mortgage lender when it's time to look at houses. My film industry friends, you're going to be doing a lot more legwork up front in the pre-approval process than somebody who's working a 9-to-5 Monday through Friday office job. But once you have that pre-approval in hand, you can go out and be comfortable making an offer on houses because we'll already have your file underwritten and know exactly the income that we can use. So in conclusion, just because one or two other mortgage lenders have told you no, they cannot work with you because of the nature of your income, keep trying. It's doable. Yes, it's a more difficult loan process, but I believe that everybody in the film industry should have the opportunity to buy a house, and it's not fair that because their income structure is different that they have such a hard time. Film people, realtors, if you have any questions about this, you'd like to talk about your individual situation, give me a shout. I would love to work with you, even though others may not. Thank you so much.